Good day, viewers. Walter here. Got my Scooty bucket up here today. I'm just tinkering a little bit on the porch. I threw some scrap pieces of wood up here, toying with some various ideas on what I'm going to do for the armrest on this bench. You don't have to have an armrest. I think it would be Jim Dandy. I've already deducted by sitting there that my arm would rest right in this area here, so that's about how high it would be. I got a lot of leftover 5/4 by 6 and a few pieces of 2 by 6 up here on display. I'm gonna play with this idea a little bit, and while I'm up here today, take this wood putty and fill in these holes. In fact, let's do the wood putty first. I toyed with several ideas up here this morning. I toyed with the idea of just, instead of having an armrest, having a little narrow shelf right there, like an end table. And you could put your drinks or whatever on it, a cup of coffee maybe. And just slide the bench in and out. If you want to move it, the shelf would still be there. That's one option. Have like a little narrow end table at both ends of the bench. But I like the idea of putting an armrest on there in case you ever decide to move the bench. I mean, if you want to move the bench over there and sit, you would definitely want an armrest. I can already see somebody might drag that bench over there to stand up there and clean windows or something, but that's not a good idea. Okay, I toyed with ideas like shaping it narrower at the back, rounding off this front in this area here. And we're going to tinker with it and see if we can come up with something nice while I'm sitting here playing with this. Now let's just say this 1 by 6, this 5/4 board is the same width as a 2 by 6. So let's say it is a 2 by 6. We can cut a notch, say somewhere in this area here, up to the edge of that 2 by 4. I'll look down in there where you can see it. So that's 1.5 inches right there. I could notch off 1.5 inches of that 2 by 6. Notch this area out, slide it up that far right there. And then the table that comes across, I mean, that would just be the support for the arm. Lining it up that way. Just sink some screws right through there. That's one option. But I'm just going to play with some different ideas to see what I like the best. I ain't got a whole lot going on today. Let's try doing these. I made big countersink areas for these screws instead of small ones. Well, that ain't cool. That's wasting a whole lot of putty. We got it filled up, but I don't like wasting so much putty. Let's try the screwdriver. Maybe that'll be less and wasteful. Nothing better than your finger for smoothing out something. That's pretty well stuck down there and it's protruding up a great deal. Or I can just sand it down. Well, I'm putting my wood putty on. Probably not all that good. I got it globbed over all the screw holes. I'll let it dry for a day or so before I think about sanding it down. So right now I'm just sitting here trying to engineer these armrests. I've already decided right about there would be the height. So it would behoove me to take a saw, cut out that notch right there, where the arm could fit right up against that 2x4. It would be resting on this this 5/4 board. If this armrest don't work out, the worst I would have would be a notch in the wood, which doesn't prevent you from sitting there at all. So we know, I'm just guessing on the proper length here, but we know it's going to be notched out like this. So that, well, this would be farther because it's going to go back 4 inches. Let's bring that out 3.5, 4 inches. We'll get the proper measurements later. We're just thinking in our head right now. So that leaves a piece about well, 3 3/4. We don't need 3 3/4 back there in the back. We could drop down, say, to 1.5 inches. Take that corner off. There would always be room to put a short piece of 2x4 right there. To brace underneath that arm, that 1.5 inch piece that's right here. How would that look? Let's think of it as a whole arm. That would be the top. So we bring the bench out, the arm out. Somewhere in this area here, that would be the end. That leaves me about 4 inches that I can round off. My 2x6 brace would be in approximately this area here. Somebody can grip their fingers around the end of that armrest to get up. Oh yeah, that would be fine. So we take and draw a line. Where's my sample. Let's see, we said 1.5 inches off that corner. So the arm's coming, let's see, it's notched out over here, 4 inches. So the arm is going to come out. I could leave this sticking out the full width. That wouldn't matter. But I like the idea of rounding it off. Tell you what we'll do, instead of cutting that whole corner off, we could always cut it off later. Let's just round that corner. I like that better. So we notch out that quarter board, we notch out this one, we put a vertical 2x6 right here, and possibly a metal bracket or a 2x4 underneath here to hold that back of the arm up, to attach it to the 2x4, I mean. Metal bracket would work just fine, and then or just a piece of 1x anything to give it some support. Nobody's going to put a whole lot of weight back there, plus it's going to be resting on that 5/4 board anyway. That'll give it sufficient strength. Alright, let's don't cut that, let's leave that whole. We just got to be daring enough to cut some notches in my bench and go ahead and try it. What the hey? Let's do it. We'll wind up with, picture this in my head. Actually, it's over here. We only lose about 3 inches all total of seating area. That makes a nice little arm too. And I'll make some use of them wasted boards. Well, let's go get my cutter and try one. What the hey? We need the proper height for our 2x6 over here. Alright, we know that 2x4 under there is 3.5 inches. Don't even have to look. Actually, I do not have to cut that notch. I could notch the 2x6. No, that makes a weak place that'll break off. It would be too weak right there where the grain of the wood goes. That was a dumb idea. We do have to notch it. Alright, 2x6. Where do we want our notch? By George, we just moved that vertical piece back further. I like that even better. So our 2x6 would be Looks like 4 3/4 plus 4 3/4 plus 7. Four and 3/4 plus 7. 11 3/4. Yeah, I'm thinking out loud. Could even go with a 2x4 instead of a 2x6. 2x4 might be better. Yes, indeed. 2x6 would be sticking out too far and I'd have to trim it off. Okay, 11 3/4 by. See, that end's already square. Let's cut it. $11 3/4. All right, I thought it out in my head. Now we have to decide if it's thought out properly. I don't know what we're going to do today is engineer a arm for this bench. I went and dragged out, I made half a dozen trips dragging out whatever tools I think I might need up here. But I guarantee you I'll have to go back to that garage or down to the shop at least half a dozen more times before I'm through with this. My wood putty is starting to dry, but we won't try sanding it today. We'll begin by cutting this notch right here. Good a place as any. I think my battery's going to run out here in a minute on the GoPro. Now, whether I get an arm on this bench or not, we definitely got a notch in it. It's there to stay. Not a biggie. Still a fine sitting bench whether we have an arm or not. Okay, there's our vertical piece. We're not going to glue anything on this arm because that would make it permanent. I couldn't take it back off. I designed this bench where these boards can be replaced should they ever break or get too worn out. We might round this corner off later, but right now That's about where it's going to be. Now we drew a line. This ain't the right 2x4. What did I say? 11 3/4. That ain't the right 2x4 that I had marked. Here it should be. That was a little thicker. Well, this one's long enough. We can use it. When I said 11 3/4, didn't I? Yeah, I got it rolled on that piece of wood. A whole lot of guesswork here anyway. Let's cut that off now. Slide my junk over. Alright, I had to cheat a little bit and cut into my board right there, but that's going to be covered by the arm anyway. Okay, I about made a mess out of that. If I redesign another bench, I'll know in advance to have that notch cut out prior to assembly. Okay, armrest. Gonna stop in a minute and haul in the groceries. She just called and she's on the way home. Now, we want to come back. Where's my pencil? It's on the floor. Even with the back of that 2x4, my mark wasn't off by much. Let's cut it out right there. And there. Yep, that's an 1.5 inches right on the money. We notch our arm out right there. Just broke my pencil. That wasn't cool. When I have to keep changing cutters, it takes twice as long. Alright, she's down there getting the mail. I guess I better stop right here. Well, I didn't cut that very straight. Well, a jigsaw will not cut a straight line, will it? Okay, I didn't take the slope of the wood into effect. We need to cut that on a 15-degree angle. Well, that ain't 45, that ain't 15, but it's better than what I had. Oh yeah, that's considerably better. I can live with that. That looks good. Oh, what the heck? Something's keeping me out. What the hey, my friends? It's not going to be noticeable. I like it. Hose clamp, wood clamp. Okay. Make sure I got the right 2x4 in there. Yeah, 11 3/4. A little pressure with a clamp. Or I'm pretty well squared up. See how level we came out if we put that right even with the bottom of that board. No, that's a little bit high, ain't it? What do we got for a measurement? I'm going to have to lower that a little bit. We got 8 1/8 to the top, 8 1/2 to the top. We need to go down 1/4 of an inch or better. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's just cut off our board. Eight 1/8. We got. Oh, that was to the top. Should have measured to the bottom. Looks like the bottom is pretty close to 7 inches. Let's go with 7 inches. Okay, I got my arm braced on the front pretty well at the height I want. I laid this up here and traced it. I had to cut this one at a different angle to make it look better. And it came out pretty good. So I traced a line, top and bottom of that 5/4 board, where I can drill 2 pilot holes right through here. As long as I get them straight, my screws should hit right in the center of that 5/4 and not be showing. The worst I could do is split the wood and have to cut another one. I thought about just putting a block of wood under there, but I think 2 screws through there would be plenty strong enough. Anybody ever puts any weight on that, it would get loose and bend down, but nobody's ever going to sit on that. So I was a little bit too long here, so I just moved my, kind of guessed a rounded edge back there. I'll get my square and make sure we got this end at the right one before I go to cutting on this. In fact, I could just cut it square for now. Let's get our pilot holes drilled. And just see what happens. Oh, I got to put some under here too. I got to get some pilot holes under here. I'm sure most of my viewers got 100 different ways they would rather see this done. And there are 100 different ways you can do it, but what I'm doing is going to be alright, I think. Back on my scooty board. We need a drill bit. Alright, halfway straight would be right there. Yeah, I need to round off them edges with a sander. That should be sufficient just to sand it round. Let's cut off that corner in case somebody hits their leg on it. It would be a lot less painful. Okay. What do you think? Will it fly? Yes, sir. It'll fly. Let's pick up our tool. One down, one to go. The whole thing about that arm is if I don't like it, I can always take it off, and all I got left is 2 notches in my bench that didn't hurt a thing. See what Contrary Mary thinks of it. Well, viewers, the bench arm passed the Contrary Mary test. We might call it a day here in a little bit. I'm not going to finish sanding it today. I'm just knocking off the thick parts of the putty and let the underneath part just still kind of soft, harden on up. Well, for better or worse, my friends, I engineered a bench arm. For better or worse, my friends, I did engineer an arm for my bench. Lots of benches like that on the internet. Then again, there ain't another one in the world like it, with a few Pwalpar touches. My back's hurting, so I ain't gonna do any more today. I need to round them finger grips just a little better. I'll do that before I quit.